$50,000 bonus. And today, 5 finalists have their eyes on that jackpot. In 5th place, looking for his first PBA championship, Jeff Bellinger of Columbia, South Carolina. He will take on Brian Voss, who is making his 2nd championship round appearance in 3 weeks. Mark Roth won his first PBA title in 1975. He's now looking for number 33. Walter Ray Williams is a 4-time World Horseshoe Pitching Champion, but he's still looking for his first professional bowling title. And our tournament leader, Don Genalo, who has dominated the field this week, is only 1 victory away from the $27,000 first prize, as ABC Sports presents the Professional Bowlers Tour. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, these are the red carpet celebrity lanes. $27,000 for the winner today. And for the 21st year, we have come to another cradle of bowling, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And we've been sponsored by a name that has long been synonymous with television, Miller. And the Light Slam started 3 weeks ago as David Ozio won it. He did not qualify for the final 24 here, so he has a chance for the Light Slam, or $50,000, 3 weeks from today, if he or the winner today can win in Cleveland, Ohio. More about that later. Our field today, a total of 38 tour titles, 32 of which are held by one man. 4-time Bowler of the Year, Mark Roth. Here's my colleague Nelson Burton Jr. with the chat. Nelson?
Thank you, Chris. 4-time Bowler of the Year, you're right. Mark Roth has done just about everything in professional bowling. He made a tremendous charge last night. But, Mark, all week long, the story at this bowling center is how to carry the pins. Everybody's leaving 7 pins, 10 pins. What's the story? How have you solved that problem?
Well, last night I was trying to make good, firm shots, and I was able to get the ball to flip over and carry the 10 pin.
Well, let's say today you start off, you leave a 10, you leave a 7, and at one point during the tournament you left 9 consecutive 10 pins, I saw in the newspaper. What are you going to do to change to make that work for you?
I might move my eyes on my target a little bit closer and try to get the ball to roll a little soon and hopefully carry the 10.
Chris, he was talking about bowling 300 today. Now he's just talking about knocking out the 10 pin. We'll know in 90 minutes who has the chance at the Miller Light Slam. Thank you. Ready to go.
All right, and there you see the 2 men that would like to win today, along with the other 3, naturally. Jeff Bellinger, 215-pounder, seated now as the cover boy. Brian Voss, 27 years old, from Tacoma, Washington. 2nd appearance on our championship round in the U.S. Open, won by Ozio. Qualified 3rd, but lost to Ozio. A high hit leaves the 610 on the left lane of this championship pair. The lanes are actually numbered 63 and 64. Here's a replay. You see the high hit.
Cuts through the middle, leaves the 610 spare. And the real story today, Chris, is the championship pair. Lane 63 hooks quite a bit more than lane 64. The players say they're going to throw hard, loft the ball on 63, and down and in on 64.
So marking with a spare is a 5'10", 160-pound Brian Voss. Has been bothered with a virus since Wednesday. Just chatting with him, have a feeling that still sustaining a temperature. Jeff Bellinger from Columbia, South Carolina, graduate in accounting from the University of South Carolina. And the man that's looking for his first professional win bow is left 1, 2, and 8.
The powerful style of Jeff Bellinger, 5-step delivery, very short backswing, but look at the size of those forearms, that wrist underneath the ball, the good loft out over the foul line, that shot going wide. The characteristic of the championship pair shows up right away. Voss was high on the left-hand lane. Bellinger slides by on the right-hand lane. Difficult shot out there for the players, but somebody could get very hot and shoot some big numbers.
Beautifully done to keep this match even after 1 frame. First television appearance this year since he finished 2nd to Tom Milton last year's Showboat PBA Doubles Classic in Las Vegas. And the wrap on that right arm, it's hard to get all those muscles in it.
Oh, well. It'll keep him in good shape and in the match. You're right, Chris. Powerful forearms. He uses all his strength. Mike Durbin, who's our statistician today, was just amazed at the carry power of Jeff Bellinger when he hits the pocket. Jeff's problem is when he gets a little wild. If he can get the ball in the pocket, look out.
Just a light hit in the 1-3, leaving the 10 pin.
Watch the 6 pin. That's the second pin on the right-hand part of the screen. It lies down in the channel, doesn't quite get up to knock out the 10. We set it at the top of the championship round. That is the key pin today. The 10 pin, if a player can carry it consistently, will be almost impossible to beat.
To the right of center, going for that lone pin. Big loss, coming back just in time. Jeff Bellinger, Columbia, South Carolina. Voss is back up. He started with a spare, now shooting in the second frame. And remember, the winner will meet Mark Roth, to be followed by Walter Ray Williams, then the tournament leader, Don Genalo. So with the pressure on, we got our first strike of the initial match.
4-step delivery by Brian Voss, shoulder high backswing, good follow through, good extension. The ball drives straight through, knocking the 6 into the 10. And one thing you'll notice about Voss and Bellinger, they loft that ball well out over the foul line. They don't throw it out over the foul line. They lift it or loft it out over the line with their wrist action.
He is smooth, isn't he? As he doubles here in the first match. Take an 11-pin lead.
Coming straight at you, right down lane 63. Voss, steady head. Look at that left arm balancing the right. The good straight arm swing. The deep inside trajectory. Watch the 6. Bump out the 10. The reason the players loft the ball that much, Chris, it delays the power, allows them to use a little more power in the pocket zone to move the 10 pin out.
Right lane for Bellinger. And the 1-2-10. 8 is gone, but still an awesome split.
What Jeff Bellinger has to do here is take the ball and go across the lane, get the ball over here in the 2-pin zone, slide the 2 into the 10, a split that he has shot many times before. Very easy conversion if he gets the ball over left of the 2-pin.
So it's first open frame in our first match, and a tough break for the man who's been a PBA member for 7 years.
Just too much of the 2-pin. He drives it almost straight back. Doesn't take out the 10. Bellinger has dug himself a hole early in the going, trails by 25 pins. And his problem is he is not close on the right-hand lane. Left-hand lane, Bellinger should do quite well on. That big loft, that swinging hook ball will work good or very good on the left-hand lane. A lot of trouble on the right.
Finished 5th here last year. More like it, says Jeff Bellinger. So we're nearing the halfway point of our first match. 25-pin lead by Brian Voss over Jeff Bellinger. Don't go away. We'll be back. This is Mark Roth, who will meet the winner of our first match. Nearing the halfway point, Brian Voss with a 25-pin lead, the double working now, shooting in the 4th frame. First game, left of center now. He's on the right lane. And jumps now to a 35-pin lead. What an athlete. You remember when you saw him in the United States Open. Qualified 3rd, then lost to David Ozio, 247 to 236. He can put together big numbers.
Brian Voss, excellent style. I think the one drawback he's had up until this year is you see the first breakdown, 27,000 for first, 14,000 second, 8,500, a difference of 1,000 to the winner or loser of this match. Going back to Brian Voss, he was not very aggressive the first couple of years that he was in the championship round. He has bowled very well so far this year, and this is the best I've seen him bowl in his whole career right now.
Early crossing over, but he left the 6-10. Happy with that. Gave the all-clear sign to the fence, as they often do, and there's a hit.
He gets a good break where he avoids the split, leaves the 6-10 spare. He converted that in the first frame. The only thing you have to guard against on the 6-10 is a guard against the chop, as you see the fingertip grip of Brian Voss.
All right, he can take a breather now as Jeff Bellinger back up. Doing a little housekeeping on that 16-pound bowling ball. And remember, he got his first strike in the 4th, now shooting in the 5th.
An important shot for Jeff Bellinger. He hasn't even been close in the 1st and 3rd frames. To get back in the match, he must strike on the right-hand lane.
Professionals doing what they have to do so often. Earlier we asked Jeff why he was wearing the elbow support.
Well, I've been bowling fairly bad the first part of the winter tour, and I've been doing a lot of practicing, and the extra games I'm putting in caused a little bit of strain on my elbow. So I started wearing the brace to add a little bit of heat to the arm while I practice, and it's basically a little bit of preventive maintenance.
Okay.
And he also related to me that he has just kind of gotten used to wearing it there, and he feels comfortable. So we may see it more often in Jeff Bellinger's appearances in the championship round. Needs this strike to cut the lead of Brian Voss down to just 13 pins, 6 frame.
He had some of those throughout the tournament, he commented, so he will take that one, of course, saying that the elbow support keeps the heat in, and he's hot right now.
Aiming for the 3rd arrow, he must have hit the 4th or 5th arrow on this one. Look at that. Right over the 4th arrow, missed say a board or so. If the board was a 2x4, I guess you could call it. Crosses over, gets a great break. The lead of Brian Voss, just 13 pins.
6 frames, spare working. That one just went by. Said so long to the 1, 2, and 8.
Brian Voss checking the scoreboard, and this really tightens the match up. With a conversion here, it'll be just 10 pins difference between the two players. Voss going at a 2:15 pace, Bellinger at a 2:05 pace.
Gets the job done.
Brian Voss, who learned to bowl while his father was an officer in the Army up in Alaska. His dad owned a bowling center in Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska, 12-lane center. Brian said that the lane conditions are a little bit different up there. He says they were very dry lane surface. You had to throw hard and really put the power to the ball. He's made the adjustment for the Pro Tour down here as one of our rising stars.
And then it happened. The 7-10. Words won't describe it. Hardly.
An apparent good hit. Watch the ball and the action of the 5-pin. As the 5-pin normally goes straight over and knocks out the 7, it goes straight back and knocks out the 8. Brian Voss thought he was going to get at least a 9 count, ends up with a 7-10 split and drops behind in the match.
Just like that, recalling what seemed to be a comfortable 35-pin lead, and now he trails by 3. We'll be back with more of the first game following this. Looking at Eddie Elias, founder of the Professional Bowlers Association, in from Florida to see this event live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 3 in a row.
3 in a row, leads by 3 pins. Turkey working, could make it a 13-pin lead.
Now he's pumped up. 215-pounder talking to himself. That adrenaline moving. Look how he creeps to the line.
Powerful guy. Look at the release, that good snap, the hand rotating around the ball. Now watch his reaction. He hits that light hit, lets that powerful ball do some work. There's a determined young man right there, Jeff Bellinger.
Over the 7 years as a professional, he's won 6 and lost 8 while appearing on TV. So he'd like to just move up. 5th here last year, 9th in 1982.
Big shot here. If he strikes here, Voss is in real trouble.
Wobbly 4. The man who failed to cash in the 6 previous tournaments, but today he will get a check.
Watch the action of the 3rd pin on the left-hand part of your screen. The 2 pin goes to the sideboard, knocks out the 7, doesn't quite get the 4 pin. And that's what's been stopping the players all week long. It's been the 10 pin, the swishing 7-10 that we saw Voss leave, or the 4 pin, Chris. They're around the pocket, but it's difficult to sustain a string of strikes.
Be the truth. Where?
Long loft, and covering the 4 pin. It's a 12-pin lead by Bellinger as his opponent Voss is up 142 through the 7th, and open in that frame. Now shooting in the 8th. It's getting late. I hit the 4, 6, 7.
Brian in a critical situation, guarding against sending the ball wide, and what he ends up with is the 4, 6, 7. All he can do is just throw the ball real hard at the 4, 7 zone and hope to bounce a pin over into the 6.
So 2 open frames now for Brian Voss. Bellinger now with a 23-pin lead. Voss will be shooting in the 9th.
Must situation. Possible 2-11 if Voss can throw 4 strikes to finish the game. Bellinger going at a 2:14 pace. Voss must start the strikes.
Picture perfect.
Good match game competition. Bellinger does not like the rack. And we're going back to why the pins are not carrying well this week, Chris. There's a couple of reasons. Number 1, the pins weigh 3 pounds, 6, 7, and 8 ounces, but we use those all the time. Number 2, and it seems to be the underlying reason, our PBA lane maintenance director, Lon Marshall, has informed me that the pin deck area where the pins sit are kind of downslope. So when the ball comes off the pine, it's a little bit airborne as it goes through the pins, and you don't get the right roll and power on the pins as it travels through the pins. And that's not much you can do about it except a lot of loft on the ball and cut down your hook.
Adjustments, week to week. 9th frame, Bellinger, spare working.
A key pin, he reacts to knocking over the 5 pin. He had the 2, 4, and 5 pins standing. The head pin comes off the sideboard. Well, watch the action of the head pin that bails Bellinger out here. Here the head pin goes to sideboard. It works in behind the 7, knocks out the 8, and then creeps up and knocks out the 5 pin. Tremendous break, an easy spare to maintain a 21-pin lead in the match.
All right. Well done. Red carpet celebrity lanes in Milwaukee. There were no 300 games this week. High game 299. Brad Bowling, Mark Roth, and Don Genalo, whom you'll see later, each with 290s.
The possibilities for Jeff Bellinger. If he can strike and spare on the next 2 shots, he will win the match. Anything less, he could lose, or we could have a tie.
A 10, as you pointed out early, Bo. We see that often today, and how true.
The 10 pin, the ball does not finish enough for Bellinger, and what he must do is make the 10 pin and throw a strike, and that way he guarantees himself at least a tie in the match. Voss still has a chance, no matter what happens, to tie this match or win it.
All right. Jeff Bellinger, Columbia, South Carolina. College champion. Bo, it's heartening to see some 3 million collegians now are competing in bowling competition.
And there's a lot of scholarships available for bowling competition. In fact, both these players, our tournament leader, Don Genalo, and Jeff Bellinger, competed at the college level in the same tournament. Right now, for Bellinger, he must get a strike to guarantee himself at least a tie.
All right. He can sit and watch. Tie assured. But up is Brian Voss, who quickly checks the score sheet to make certain he knows what he has to do. Remember, he has that strike up in the 9th frame. Needs 3 strikes to tie.
Bellinger sure put the punctuation mark on that strike he had in the 11th frame. Let's see if he put a little extra pressure on Voss, who must strike on each shot.
Just when you think the pressure insurmountable, they come through with shots like that.
No timeouts for professional bowlers, no coach to call upon. Right now, it's your own natural ability. That was the best shot of the game for Brian Voss, but he must duplicate that 2 more times to end up in a tie.
Talk about lonely sports. This is one of them. Yes, now, one more and a 2-frame roll-off. Be our first of 1986 as we're in our 25th year. And Bo, of course, we've had roll-offs before, the 2 of us.
Many roll-offs, and it's just extended play, as you explained just a minute earlier, Chris. It'll be like the 9th and 10th frames. They will start all over. Bellinger would be up on the left-hand lane and bowl the 9th frame, but Voss must strike on this final shot of this game to go into a tie.
First game is extended. Imagine that. You need to roll 3 in a row. And Mr. Brian Voss of Tacoma, Washington, does just that. So here comes the 2-frame roll-off. And here's a replay of a big shot. Look at the intensity on that face. The reaction. Crowd joins him. And now we join live Jeff Bellinger.
Bowling what we would call the 9th frame. First shot.
So a tie of 2-11 has brought about the extended action. And Bellinger on the left lane leaves another 10.
The identical shot that he had in the 10th frame when he needed a strike to lock up the match, he's praying again. Once again, 10-pin. He's not beating himself, though. He's keeping the ball in play. He's been perfect on his spares today.
Too early that he had that one nailed. So it's a spare in the 2-frame roll-off. First of 2 frames, and now Brian Voss, who put together 3 in a row to tie at 2-11. There's his first shot in the roll-off.
Who has the advantage? Is it the player who just tied or the player that was sitting on the bench and that tied up the match, such as Bellinger? Let's see what Voss does on his first shot.
Continuing that string is Brian Voss.
Although the scoreboard says even, the Voss definitely has the advantage. If we can project 2 more strikes, this being the 10th frame, he would shut out Bellinger. But one thing that's so important, he cannot lose count with a strike up if he marks.
Four-pin.
The situation for these 2 players is very simple. Strike and a spare, and let's say another strike for Voss. As you see the 4-pin shot, he would have 40 in his 9th and 10th frame roll-off. If Bellinger goes strike spare, we would have 40 again, a possible double tie.
punt. This is going to be a hard-earned victory and a disappointing loss.
Well, you have to admire Brian Voss, how he has come back in this match. He left that 7-10 split on an apparent good hit. Then when Bellinger really put the pressure on him, he answered the bell, finished with 4 strikes in a row. Once again, he can put the pressure on Bellinger. If Voss strikes here, Bellinger would need 2 strikes to win.
Win with true grit. 2 opens in the regulation play that struck out to tie.
If Brian Voss had any critics about his ability to perform under pressure, he answered the question in the last 10 minutes. Every ball in the last 7 frames has been right in the strike zone. For Jeff Bellinger, he must strike on this ball or the match is over. Strike spare, we have another tie. Strike, strike, Bellinger's a winner. Anything less than a strike, Voss goes on to meet Roth. Voss is a winner.
That's it. Pesky 10-pin. Oh, what a pity, what a loss for Jeff Bellinger seeking his first title. So Voss now will meet the great Mark Roth. At the bottom of your screen, you see matching 2 11s and an asterisk by Brian Voss's name and a 2-frame roll-off, 40-39. He has earned the right to meet Mark Roth in our second game, live coverage from the red carpet celebrity lanes in the light championship. And what a performer. He had 7 strikes, regulation, and then 2 more in the roll-off. Voss shoots first. Well, high hit, gets them all.
He seems to have solved the mystery of this championship here. The deep inside line on the left-hand lane, he trips out to 4 and down and in as he struck out against Bellinger on the right-hand lane. But here's the great Mark Roth. He knows what to do with a bowling ball.
Ranks it into the pocket. The man who was top-seeded in the Quaker stayed open, but along came a rookie named John Odrobinick to eliminate him.
Mark Roth, the patented 6-step delivery, the confident wrist action, the tremendous pivot step. Look at that hand straight through the ball. You want to learn a lesson? Watch Roth. He's not trying to overpower this right-hand lane. He's going what we call down and in. Watch him crank it up and torque it up on the left-hand lane and hook the ball to the pocket.
Mark, normally a fidgety type, a little bit more so today. He's really pumped up. He'd like to win today and then go on and win the Light in North Olmsted, Ohio in 3 weeks. Said he needed that 50,000.
You're right, 50,000 still available. The Light mini slam, as we call it. David Ozio has 1 leg. A player today will leave with 1 leg. One of those 2 players will have a chance to pick up 50 grand in Cleveland in a couple of weeks.
Well, at 310, David's seen almost everything today.
Well, this is a good match game championship pair for the simple reason you have to be a shot maker to hit lane 63 and 64. Throw some power, let it hook on the left-hand lane. Depend on accuracy and a down and in shot on the right-hand lane. Brings out the best in the top pro bowlers. Voss to convert the 310 split.
Tough break. Going by, 3-pin.
Just by a flicker. It looks like he's going to hit the 3-pin. The ball doesn't quite hit it. Deflect into the 10. Voss trails by 22 pins. There's only 2 frames left, but he was way down in the first match.
Winner of this game will meet Walter Ray Williams, where close does count. 4-time horseshoe pitching champion, but not in bowling. An 8 now.
Almost unemotional reaction from Brian Voss. His concentration, he's so deep into it. He leaves the solid 8, an apparent good hit. But once again, it just reinforces what we stated at the top of the championship round. Carrying the pins on a consistent basis is the key to victory. Voss found the secret for 7 or 8 frames as he closed out Bellinger, but he's struggling against Roth.
But methodically moves to the line, covers the 8-pin to mark with a spare. Roth, you're with us right from the beginning. Open with a double. And looks on, sometimes has a problem with concentration. 3rd frame. And now a 2-10.
Once again, the 2-10 split. This is the split that plagued Jeff Bellinger, and what Roth has to do is the same thing we said about Bellinger. Get the ball to the left of the 2-pin, drive it over into the 10-pin area to convert the split.
Seemingly hundreds of times on TV, converting the tough splits.
The 3-10. What has made Roth so great over the years is his ability to close out frames. He doesn't get many open frames. Chris, I've always said it as he puts a piece of tape in the thumb hole. He already has a reason for leaving the 3-10. That Roth has the best natural ability to bowl, just God-given natural ability of any player that I've seen in the 25 years I've been involved with professional bowling.
Imagine, and there's his strategy, Bo.
He hasn't figured out. 63 hooks, he's going to play in and crank it. 64, where he just converted that split, is tight. He's going to throw it a little straighter.
And we all need breaks in life. The 7 going out late. The man that's making his 116th appearance in the top 5.
Mark Roth, who always said what his mother told him, luck is a residue of design, and there he proved a little bit of it, but I think a lot of natural abilities. A 4 takes out the 7, avoids the 7-10 split, an easy spare.
"34-year-old Mark Roth with 32 Professional Bowling Association titles. We're going to bowl through because we're running way behind our allotted time schedule. We'll be back after this. Now going for the 6, 7, 10. Win all out. Brian Voss, while we're away, we bowl through because we are way beyond our time limit. A strike in the 4th with a spare up for Voss. And now another open, his 2nd of this match. He had 2 in his victory. In overtime, or a 2-frame roll-off against Jeff Bellinger. Solid 8.
Not much you can do about it. We've seen the swishing 7-10. We saw the 10-pin. We've seen the solid 8. The only adjustment you can make, and I asked Mark what he was going to make, what kind of adjustment he would make, he says just keep putting the ball out on the lane, a nice loft. Don't try to hook it too much, and put it in the pocket. Easy spare for one of the great spare shooters of all time.
Mark bowling today, as he has throughout his career, with a nagging injury. So we had an opportunity to ask him about his most recent one.
A couple of weeks ago, I stuck real bad on the approach about 2 or 3 times during competition, and I've had a wrap on my leg. It keeps it warm and keeps the muscles loose, so I've been able to bowl the last couple of weeks with it.
Same material that deep-sea divers use. It's black and sort of thick. And a 4-pin.
Roth around the pocket on every shot except in the 3rd frame. And here's the career victories of all the top professional bowlers. The great Earl Anthony Roth, only 9 victories behind. Dick Weber, 27. Don Johnson. And a name probably the most underrated of all the great bowlers, the great Dick Ricker from in the state of Wisconsin.
Right. Miss seeing him out on the tour. Very accomplished bowler and instructor, as you see Brian Voss trailing by 31, and if you just joined us in the first match of the afternoon, a 2-11 tie in the 2-frame roll-off, Voss defeated Bellinger 40-39. And a 10.
Everything bad happening to Brian Voss right now. Strike, As we said, there's not much you can do to adjust when the lane itself, as the PBA lane maintenance people tell me, is tilted slightly down. Other than the next time they resurface the lanes to level it out, it'll make the carry a little better.
And there's always that happy thought of moving on to Peoria for the next tournament, right, Nelson?
Good paychecks for these fellas, and once
Yes.
again, $50,000 potential bonus to the winner of this tournament if he can win at Cleveland or David Ozio, who already has one of the Miller victories. Voss in a must situation. This is where he started to turn it on with Jeff Bellinger. He was trailing in the match. He now trails by 31 pins. He has a possible 2:14 Roth going at a 2:05 pace.
He says goodbye, waves goodbye, I should say, to the pins, and the ones he was waving to, 4-7-9.
What he had, the ball just cuts right through the middle. He just has to throw it to 4-7 pins and hope to bounce one of them out, and knock out the 6th pin.
All right, again repeating, we're running way over our allotted time schedule, which means we have to bowl through occasionally, as Mark Roth, who will be shooting, leads by 45. We'll be back. While we were away, 3 frames, 3 strikes. Roth striking in the 7th and 8th, and Voss now striking in the 8th frame, trailing by 55.
Mark Roth's second strike on the left-hand lane. He trips out the 4-pin. He's now going at a 2:15 pace, but for Brian Voss, 9th frame, must strike or he cannot win the match. Not to be. Brian Voss, I think that 9th and 10th frame roll-off against Bellinger just took so much out of him, Chris. He bowled well in the first frame, but then he's just not been able to put it together in the last 8 frames.
And he really suffered from that virus, has been battling it as he's bowled since Wednesday. So his second appearance this year, give him a lot of credit, and it will not be his last this year. Tremendous athlete. And of course, Mark Roth, you never know. When he really wants to bowl, he'll be on the show, believe me. Right there, he just quickly puts 3 together and has won this second match, and that means that he'll go against Walter Ray Williams in the semifinal. Today, Nelson Burton gives us some insights on how to make that troublesome 2-4-5. So we're going to join Nelson now, and he's going to give us all the info on how to handle it all. Bo, here he is.
2-4-5 combination is the most often left combination in the sport of bowling, and is also the most often missed. The reason is simple. When you use the third arrow from the right-hand channel, as we recommend for head pin down spares, the angle that the ball comes into the 2-4-5 combination is often at such that it will chop off the 2-4 and leave the 5-pin. Today's bowling tip of the week will show you a way to convert this spare more reliably. What you have to do is move to the left side of the approach. I move to the exact same position on the approach that I used to make the 10-pin. But instead of using the third arrow from the right-hand channel, I use the third arrow from the left-hand channel. That cuts down the angle of attack and makes it much easier to avoid that evil chop by taking the 2, 4, and 5 and knocking them straight back. Watch this shot. There you have it. Instead of standing on the right-hand side of the approach, move to the left side. That increases your chances of making the 2-4-5 combination.
Finishing 3rd overall in the tournament, came out with a big 245, and Brian Voss, who won the first match against Bellinger in a roll-off 40-39. Well, everything was against him. So now he will leave with a check for $7,000 and 160 started. Earlier this week, the average needed to make the top 24, 205.
The average to cash, Chris, 201, 53 places. As you see some of the other finalists, Steve Wonderlich lost the 42nd game to Roth. Monticelli up there, powerful Mark Fay. Rookie of the Year, Tommy Kreitz, our great Butch Soper, the Green Machine. Brazo up there, U.S. Open champion David Houston. Kent Wagner finished 14th. His wife finished 2nd this week in a women's pro tournament. Jim Stefanich, U.S. Open champion Cook. Big Bill Straub, Jimmy Certain, Bobby Knipple. Kaz Marzik, $1,800. Ted Hanna's out of his slump. Lenny Borish, Mats Carlson from Sweden. beat Weber, and Mike Bovia went in to fill in for Weber after Weber had a sore thumb, and they split the prize money. Bovia got a little extra money, as you see some Miller Brewing product being put together in the background.
All right, Mike Albee, Bowler of the Year 1985, so voted by the Bowling Writers Association of America. The trophy presented by Chicago Tribune's Jim Fitzgerald, president of that distinguished association. So it's congratulations to Indianapolis's Mike Albee, won over $200,000 last year, having his troubles this year, but he will be back. All right, we're ready now to go into that semifinal match. It's Mark Roth, who shot a big 245 to Brian Voss's 169 that will lead off. He's going against Walter Ray Williams, who has yet to win in his 4th year as a PBA member. Mark in his 16th. And maybe the East Coast's most rabid New York Ranger hockey fan, Mark Roth, opening with a big strike. Now, here's our first look today. Walter Ray Williams, 3rd TV appearance this year. And speaking of the 2, 4, 5, and the 8, that's what Walter Ray will be faced with as a result of this shot.
Walter Ray Williams using the whole approach, 4-step delivery, just throws it a little bit hard on his opening shot. Leaves that dinner bucket split, or spare, a difficult spare. You have to guard against the chop of the 5-pin and still carry out the 8. And
disaster hits the world champion horseshoe pitcher right in the first frame.
Walter Ray Williams, as you can see here, starting with an 8 count. That has been his profile almost every time he's in the championship round. He starts off the match poorly, he gets himself in trouble, and then he has to press to catch up. He told me today that he hoped he didn't do that, but once again, he's in trouble.
By leaving the 3-6 for the man that has its best finish in second, but off to a very, very shaky start.
Walter Ray playing that outside line that he likes so he gets the maximum carry, but he just can't seem to control the ball in the pocket. Throws the ball between the first and second arrows, but he's high and leaves the 3-6 spare. Another tough shot.
Now a mark for Williams. Mark Roth, who opened with a strike, and a man who last night blazed through his final 4 games, 256, 203, 290, and 225. Opened with a 245 and eliminating Brian Voss. When he knows the shot is good, he'll give it that little leg-quaking shuffle. Cruiserweights, Nelson Burton Jr. And Olympian Holyfield against Muti. Oh, what a bout.
Holyfield, Chris, of all the Olympic fighters, do you think he has as much potential as any of them?
That's the one I like. Cruiserweight division, incidentally, has a weight limit of 195 pounds today. He's good. Mark has left a 10-pin on the left lane. Florida Derby also in today's ABC's Wide World of Sports, plus a live interview with the Commissioner of Baseball, Peter Ueberroth. Jim Lampley will be questioning the Commissioner on baseball's drug issues.
Roth for a pin that he never misses, the 10-pin, cross lane. Walter Ray Williams covers story on Sports Illustrated, 1983, one of the great, if not the greatest, horseshoe pitching champion of all times, trying to make a living as a professional bowler. He says there's just not enough money in horseshoes, and he can win only $500 or $1,000 a week.
So we have a 2-5 for the pitcher and the bowler. We just can't quite figure things out here this afternoon. Finished second overall out of 160. Here the pinfall, that is the tournament leader, Don Genalo, will meet the winner of this match for the title. All right.
Walter Ray, I believe, will have a pretty good line on the right-hand lane. This, if he's going to get back in the match, has got to be the lane that he makes the adjustment on. He's moving left on the approach. He looks down. This is a very important shot early in the match.
He's left the 6-10.
No way. He's trying to play, in golf, he's trying to say it's a left-handed break, and he's playing a right-handed putt. There's just no way, Chris. He right through the heart, the 6-10. He has to move to a line around the third arrow on the left-hand lane.
All right, continuing to mark with the spares as Mark Roth is leading by 25 pins. He'll be shooting next. We'll bring you up to date when we return. This is Williams while we're away. Mark Roth marking with spare in the fourth, leaving a 10-pin, covering it then with a strike in the fifth. Here in the fifth frame, Williams, spare. Oh, he tucked that one into the pocket. That's what he needs, aggressiveness, and not a negative thought in his...
And there's Mike Hart, who is the director of sports marketing for the Miller Brewing Company, one of the super guys out here on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
Enjoys the game. And now, along with you, watching Walter Ray Williams.
Big shot for Walter Ray. Has to strike.
Oh, and he gets it. And it counted. A double for Walter Ray. Opened with an open. So now, Roth's lead is 14 pins, can increase it to 24. Strike up, 6th frame, semifinal match.
The 4-9 split. Once again, carry the problem with Roth, but he was a little softer on that shot. This whole game, Roth, strike, solid 10, strike. All of a sudden, he hits in this zone where he has to get the ball over next to the 4-pin, slide it into the 9. Roth, he's already made one split today, the 2-10. This is very similar.
So things get closer and open for Mark Roth. First of the day, 116 through the 6th. 2-pin lead.
Just not enough on the left side of the 4-pin to slide it into the 9. Roth going at 196, and boy, oh boy, what a beautiful game he's bowled so far, but nothing much to show for it. Let's see how he reacts to this bad breaks he's had in the last 3 of the 4 frames.
And like the true champion that he is, bounces back with an important strike in the 7th frame. They'll be bowling through because we're way behind our allotted time schedule, but we'll bring you up to date after this.
Man, skiing sure is.
Wages here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin while we're away. Williams with a double, making it 4 in a row, and then Roth came back to double with a strike in the 8th frame. 8 pins separating the two.
Seesaw battle as Roth cuts the lead of Walter Ray's down to 8. With that shot, he can retake the lead with a strike here in the 9th frame.
There are winners and then there are champions, and in the red shirt, that is one. And a champion in horseshoe pitching the world over, Williams. Not yet in bowling, but the way he is strung 4, looks like he may be emerging now. Foundation 9th coming up as Genalo, the tournament leader, continues to stay loose and warm off to our right.
Williams, trailing by 2, can retake the lead, 9th frame. Trying to keep the speed up. That's how he got there. He got 4 in a row by keeping the pins light. And what happens is he throws the ball a little bit harder on the right-hand lane. It bounces and doesn't quite finish. He leaves the 2-7 baby split. A much easier split to convert than the 3-10 baby split. Across lane, must get the ball left of the 2-pin and let it bounce into the 7.
Preparation complete. And Bo, that preparation leads to success. Now, 4 pins separating these two as we move to that 10th frame after the split conversion.
Walter Ray's has been so good from the 5th frame through the 9th frames. He threw the ball just a pinch hard in the 9th, but now here in the 10th, he needs 2 strikes to take the lead away from Roth.
Praying for the 10.
10th frame, he needed that strike. The match is not over, though. He has forced Mark Roth to convert a spare or a strike in the 10th frame if Walter Ray makes the 10-pin. Look at his technique. He just puts his ring finger in. One finger in the ball is another good method that some of the pros use to kill the shot and be accurate on spares.
Very loose at 6 feet 2 inches tall, 165 pounds. Could play a motion picture part of a riverboat gambler. Gundy.
Mark Roth, and very true about Walter Ray, but Walter Ray, if he happens to lose this match, can look back to the first 4 frames where he missed a spare in the 1st frame, could not get lined up to the 5th frame, and now he trails Mark Roth by just 4 pins. 5 pins. We're ready.
Ah, yes. Big 2-11. I think I have seen those numbers before. Our first match ending in a 2-11 tie between Voss and Bellinger. Voss winning at 40-39 2-frame roll-off. Turning the screw, Mark Roth. And boy, he wants the first leg on a mini slam.
He's thinking 27,000 today, 50,000 in Cleveland a few weeks down the line. What a tremendous shot in the 10th frame he just threw. You cannot coach that. He followed through to the right. He threw the ball a little harder. All instinct, but all money in the bank.
So it's going to be an all-East Coast final. Don Genalo, the tournament leader, has been waiting in the wings, likes the tournament leader spot, will go against this great champion, Mark Roth. Will return to Milwaukee, but first this. Roll-off. Then Voss was eliminated by hot Mark Roth, who then took the measure of Walter Ray Williams with 9 strikes, 236 to 211. Now, for 27 grand to the winner, it'll be Don Genalo and Roth. To bring you up to date live on 2 parts of today's Wide World of Sports, we're going to Lancaster, Pennsylvania now. Standing by is our colleague at ringside, Al Michaels.
Thank you, Chris. And you're looking right now at Evander Holyfield.
Thank you, Al Michaels. Bouncing around the country. And now, ready to bounce the ball out on the lane, across the line, of course, Mark Roth. 2 victories. Genalo, he likes that top spot, though, as a tournament leader.
Genalo, very tough, has proven that in the top spot as he won tournaments such as the King Louis Open, Long Island Open. And here's 2. He always says Perrysburg, Ohio. We'll have similarity between these 2 players.
And originally from North Merrick, Long Island, and Mark, of course, is a dyed-in-the-wool East Coaster.
A shot we've seen before, especially the opening shot. If a player's a bit tentative on the left-hand lane, it's the 6-10 spare. Genalo, a good spare shooter, is evidenced by being a tournament leader on a very tough condition.
All right, Genalo marking with a spare. Now bowling out of Perrysburg, Ohio, a lovely suburb of Toledo, where we'll be in 4 weeks for the PBA National Championship. And a man that, well, we've seen him want to win before, but not as much as today. 240 average in 2 games, Mark Roth.
What tremendous wrist action Roth is putting on that ball, especially on the right-hand lane here. He's going almost straight through the ball, almost like a straight lift shot that many amateurs would roll. But Roth getting maybe 12, 13 revolutions on the ball is motivating those pins, but still fails to carry the 10.
Lots of speed, covering the 10 pin, and this is our championship match. The winner will receive $27,000, runner-up 14. The Light Championship. 21st year that we've come to Milwaukee in our 25 years of the Professional Bowlers Tour. And Bo, you won here in 1972.
When it used to be the Miller High Life Tournament, now it's the Light Championship. A little bit of taste, a little bit lighter beer with a few less calories. More money, though.
6, 7.
The first time all day that Roth has been errant with his first ball. Right through the middle, 4, 6, 7. He must throw the ball hard at the 4-7, try to bounce it out, knock out the 6. We've seen this shot 3 other times today. Seen that happen in a long time, where you actually, what we call chop the 4 off the 7. Nothing going right for Roth in 2 frames. And if I was John Genalo, I would take advantage of that right now. Roth doesn't give you a second chance.
There's Genalo. He is wearing a wireless microphone as we replay the shot.
I'll tell you what, I just think this fellow is such a great, great young player. Every time I see him out here bowling, his form is almost impeccably perfect. He's a determined, good clutch player, and it just surprises me that we don't see him more often in a championship round. But with 8 frames to go, he's got Roth down by 15 pins, 27,000 at stake.
Get a break.
Didn't? Well, perhaps he did get a break, leaving only the 6-10.
Once again, it's been Roth, and as you see Don Genalo looking down at the boards, counting how many boards should I move left on the lane. And remember the old golden rule, if you're missing left, as Roth is missing, Genalo's missing, move left as Mary looks on. Genalo across lane is second, 6-10.
Very smooth, sustained follow through. Barry showing very little emotion. John doesn't show much either.
Let's see what happens, Chris, to Roth. He's slowing down a little bit. He's been high a few shots. He must maintain that speed for 8 more frames.
Between his last game and now, it did motion a bit to his leg that it perhaps is bothering him.
Not getting that drive through on the pivot step to keep the speed up. Roth, the second 4-9 split he has left today. The first time he did not convert it, knocking the 4-pin straight back. He has to slide it over into the 9.
Here's a man whose right hand over the years has taken a pounding, and now his left leg today is 2 victories, a 240 average. Right now, he is down 26 pins to the tournament leader, Don Genalo.
Mark Roth looks a little like he's beat, but he is never beaten until the final game is over, or final shot is over. He had a tremendous comeback last night. Last 4 games went from 13th place to a chance to win the championship.
He says thank you very much. Finally into the pocket where he's been in his first 2 matches. This is the championship game, more of which you'll see following this break. Senior Vice President of Sales, Miller Brewing Company, and we welcome to ABC Sports the new president, Dennis Swanson, his wife Kathy, who have come in from New Canaan, Connecticut, to visit us at one of the cradles of bowling.
A man that, if you read Sports Illustrated magazine the last week, has made a lot of great news for sports television in capital cities.
Hold it.
Oh, yes. And looked to the great spirit, didn't he?
The first time the 4-pin has been tripped out on the right-hand lane today. Don Genalo, tournament leader, at the most opportune time. Look, he's saying, hold it, watch his lips. Come on, Don, say it for me. Okay, you're not going to. But he still trips the 4. Trails by 26 pins. 5th frame, needs a strike.
Come on, ball, come on. Yes.
Now he's fired up. Won the King Louis Open last year from the top spot. Here he is against Mark Roth with a strike up. He'll be shooting in the 5th.
If it was anybody but Mark Roth, I'd say count it out, give the money to Genalo. Genalo is a great champion, but he's going against the greatest in the game today.
Mark seeking his 33rd title, Genalo his 5th. Mark 34, Genalo 28. Just this past week.
The great instinct player, Mark Roth. Very similar to the Harry Smith, the great Harry Smith that so many years was a terror of the Professional Bowlers Tour. Roth, 5th frame, has a double working coming up in the 6th can cut the lead of Genalo down to 16. Needs a strike.
Back in the match. 240 average in 2 games coming into this title event, the Light Championship. And you see the leaders by rounds, the great Jim Stefanich, and then Bellinger. Then the man who will be shooting next, Don Genalo.
Genalo, with that great pocket percentage this week, has been almost 90% when everybody else has struggled. I see in my notes he was 91% in winning the 1983 and 85 King Louis championships.
Break, leaving only the 610. Man who has won 14 and lost 10 in television appearances.
Once again, the 610 spare to convert. Genalo left the 610 in the first, the 610 in the third, in the right-hand lane on the 6th frame, leaves the 610 again. He's feeling the pressure of Roth breathing down his throat.
Don Genalo in 1983 missed a lot of action as he had a kidney removed, bounced back, and he looks very good physically, doesn't he?
Yes, he does, and he feels very strong, a newlywed, and that graphic, he is 4 wins, no losses from the number 1 position. But right now, that could be in jeopardy if he doesn't keep striking against Mark Roth.
7th frame.
Up, ball, up. Nice shot, Donnie.
And the bucket on the left lane, 2-4-5-8.
The man whose deceased father played baseball in the Dodger organization has left himself a difficult spare as his wife Mary looks on. The 2-4-5-8, a conversion here to maintain the lead.
With a little speed off the shot, beautifully done. But he didn't like the fact that he left it. But he marked to the spare in the 7th. Now, here's the man that can tie it up. 3 in a row, shooting in the 7th frame. Level even.
What a tremendous shot to tie the match. Roth, where everybody else has been leaving the 10-pin, as you look at that rise. He's thinking 50,000, 27,000, 77,000. That's my kind of money. Carried the 10 out. The match is all even. 3 frames left to determine the Miller Lite Championship.
Then there was the 3-6-7-10.
And he did not like that shot for sure. The first time he was back in the match with Genalo, and he hands it right back. What Roth has to do, and he'll give it a good shot, is get the ball over in the 3-6 zone. Slide the 3-pin right here over into the 7-pin. Remember, he's already converted the 210.
Oh, and mark up another one. That is greatness. Mark Roth.
Folks, enjoy Mark Roth while you have him to watch. If you've never come out to see him bowl before, come out and watch this great natural talent. Let's see what effect that tremendous split conversion will have on Don Genalo, who now leads by 4.
Spare up.
6.
High hit that gets him. Genalo down at the line on that one knee, hoping. Wonderful final match.
Looking at the scoreboard, a mistake that he made one other time in his career where he threw an ill-fated 5 count on the final ball to give a championship to Jimmy Pritz back in 1984. Will not make that mistake again. 9th frame, leads by 4 pins. Strike working can extend the lead over the great Roth to 14 with another strike.
Left the single 10-pin on the left lane.
Once again, the left-hand lane, as you mentioned, Chris, the ball breaking very sharply. He breaks up the 4-6-10 split, walks away with just an easy spare, the 10-pin, to maintain his lead going into the final frames.
Coming back and getting it. Next week, we're at the Landmark Recreation Center in Peoria with a True Value Open. Good to see Ray Becker and his gang again.
Then it's on to Kansas City for the King Louis, and then up to Cleveland for the second half or third tournament in the Miller Lite Slam. but this one is yet to be decided.
Solid. Mark Roth.
Well, Chris, one of the great players of all times, what do you say he's going to do? Mark Roth needs to strike to take the lead. I'd have to put my money on that ball being in the 1-3 pocket.
It's like I might put my money on Magumbo in the Florida Derby later on ABC's Wide World of Sports and Holyfield.
To take the lead.
And I'm sure Jackie at home in Spring Lake Heights enjoying it with all of his fans.
Sitting next to me, doing the statistician work, Mike Durbin just turned to me, and Mike is one of the brilliant people in this sport. He just said to me, the greatest right there. Right now, he needs one strike to win championship number 3 and have a pop at another $50,000 bonus a couple weeks down the line.
Then there was a 9.
Unbelievable, Chris. Of all the times that I have seen a bad break in a critical situation, Roth put it where he wanted it. Solid in the pocket. Look, he's shaking his head. What? You got to watch his reaction. He knows it's solid. He says, I can't throw it any better. What happened? 9-pin. I can still lose the title. Genalo can win with a double in the 10th and 11th frames.
240 coming into this game after 2 matches. A 209 for Mark Roth. And now needs 2 strikes and 6 pins to win. The pressure.
Remember how Genalo won the 1985 King Louis Championship, stood up there in the 10th frame, needed 2 strikes to win, pack it away. 2 of the great Koch players. Roth finished, Genalo 2 strikes for the title.
There's 1. Now Mary breaks out with a wry smile.
Life in the fast lane for Genalo. He needs 1 more strike and a 6-pin count to take away the 1986 Miller Lite Championship and have a pop at that $50,000 with David Ozio in Cleveland 2 weeks down the line.
$13,000 difference here.
Come on, baby, come on!
Would you believe he has the 2 strikes, now 6 pins.
6 pins. 2 great champions performing under pressure. $27,000 a pop at the 50. Chris, once again, you have to have a little empathy for Roth. He gave it his best go in the 9th and 10th and 11th frames. He was denied by another great champion, and Lady Luck left him on this final ball. There's the winner.
All right. Those final frames again showing the medal are for professional bowlers. It is a 214 to 209 victory and a big one for Don Genalo. We'll get a quick word from Genalo. Mary, his wife, showing great appreciation for his talent. We'll be back after this.
A professional bowler.
The smile on my right, the agony registered on the face of our friend. Great champion, 9-pin. Wow.
Well, all week long I've been leaving 10 pins, and today the 9 pin stopped me. And, Don got up in the 10th, did 2 good shots. I'm going to check and do.
You're still the greatest.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay. Mark Roth, Don Genalo, congratulations to you and Mary. Leonard Goldstein, Senior Vice President of Sales, Miller, with a check and a trophy. Leonard.
On behalf of the Miller Brewing Company and Miller Lite, Don, on your 5th title, a check for $27,000 and this beautiful trophy. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to thank everybody here in Milwaukee. Originally, I wasn't going to come here, and I decided to at the last second. Miller people treat us great every year, and I hope to come back next year and defend my title.
You treated us to great bowling. Congratulations. Don Genalo is the winner, 214 to 209. Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, cruiserweight contender Evander Holyfield takes on Chisandra Muti, live from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And 3-year-old